Before I get into the actual game Space Hunter, I have a small mystery about it. Kemco only released Famicom games in blue cartridges, so I was surprised a few months ago when I saw a copy of Space Hunter for sale that was black. I couldn't find any information on cart variations for Space Hunter, and the Kemco carts do tend to get discolored, so I thought it might be something along those lines, but for a couple of dollars I ordered it anyways. When the cart came, it was definitely not discolored. The cart has a consistent shade of plastic across the whole thing. The code molded inside the slot indicates a different molding. It's not a reprinting from later on because the warnings on the back of the cart are from 1986. Unfortunately, I don't have the equipment to dump it, though I haven't found any in-game differences between the two. Famicom carts are a nightmare to open up without damaging them as well, so I haven't popped it open. So I have no clue what my black cart is. Contest prize? Prototype? Maybe an initial batch that was done before they caught that they were coming back with the wrong color? As far as I can tell, this is the only instance of a black Space Hunter cart that has ever been documented. But if anyone out there has a clue on what it could be, I'm all ears. Okay, let's get into Space Hunter. The box is pretty infamous in Japan. Apparently the girl on it holding a laser sword lured in a lot of players who were very disappointed when they actually played the game. As for the gameplay, well, if it wasn't for the fact that Metroid was only released in August, I'd swear this game was ripping it off. The main character is Altiana, who is, and I'm going to quote the manual here, a beautiful 16-year-old cyborg girl. After the Earth was shattered into 9 pieces, people settled on the remaining chunks of the planet. Then an evil scientist and his 6 lieutenants each take over a planet and start attacking the lone remaining human settlement. You have to go out and defeat each subordinate in turn, then go get that scientist. When you start the game, you have your choice of going to one of 6 planets. A tip for you, go to this gray one first. Each planet is a 9x9 maze of screens, and what you have to do is search through all of the rooms on the planet looking for equipment, and then kill the boss. You could find a new weapon, a shield that blocks that color of attack, or some things that let you move through hazardous environments. Each of the bosses are weak to a particular weapon, so you'll have to locate those before you go to the boss. And you can leave the planet you're on at any time just by flying off the top of the screen at the top edge of the maze. When you defeat the boss, you get an extra point of life, but they also start a countdown that will destroy the planet. So you have a short time to navigate your way back to the surface and escape. So yeah, this game is extremely Metroid-esque. The way the planet blows up after you defeat the boss does introduce a major problem with Space Hunter. If you don't collect all of the required items before leaving the planet, then you can't beat the game, and you're probably going to have to start over. The weapon you start out with is called a time bomb, but it really isn't one. It detonates in a horizontal line that stretches across the screen, and it goes off when you move far enough away vertically from it. The time bomb can also reveal hidden objects and secret rooms. Some of those secret rooms contain items required to beat the game as well. Most of the other weapons tend to be more straightforward, usually just shooting some kind of beam. All of the weapons consume energy, but they also have a minimum energy requirement before you're allowed to use them. So the heart beam, to use an example of a weapon I found, requires that you have 120 energy before you're allowed to shoot it, even though it only uses a couple of energy per shot once you do have it. Energy is dropped by enemies in the form of these crescent moons, and health refills are dropped in the form of these stars. Inside the rooms, you have to destroy all of the enemies to get the item to appear. What you'll commonly find are notes, and Space Hunter is a bit infamous for its notes being absolutely useless. You occasionally get a useful hint, but more often than not it's nothing. If you decide to play Space Hunter, I strongly recommend making a map. You'll not only want to know all of the connections in the side-scrolling areas, but also what each room contains and if you've cleared it. Is it weird that I can't really hate Space Hunter? I mean, the game is all rough edges, but all of the exploration and hunting for those items, it scratches an itch for me. The mechanics may not be completely straightforward, but they're not cruelly obscured either. It feels like a game that you could reasonably figure out without having to resort to having a guide in front of you the entire time. Yeah, the action's not the best, and that music is really droning, and I have no idea what they were going for visually. But I still don't mind playing it. Space Hunter feels like what you'd get if Rockman and Metroid were placed into a telepod from The Fly. The pieces are all there, but the soul is not.